Welcome back to me reading Transported, a Wings of Fire story. This time, it's going to be chapter 26. As usual, if this is your first time watching this little series, I recommend you to watch the previous chapters or read them yourself. Now let's begin. This chapter's name is called Dangerous Discovery. Star looked at the red skywing, staring back at her intently. Is there something you're not telling me? Daniel repeated. He clutched the bally song in his talon. He didn't mean for it to be menacing, but Star definitely took it that way, as she kept making quick, nervous glances between his hard stare and the sand-covered blade. Look, let's just forget. No, you're not getting out of this that easily, Daniel interrupted. You're going to tell me exactly how you knew about his true name. Star shifted uncomfortably from side to side as he flexed her talons. Huh? Oh, we love typos here that make us laugh. As he flexed her talons. It's not important, she finally spoke. But that's the thing. It is. As far as anyone knows, this gatekeeper can bring things from my world into this one. With power like that, who knows what else he's capable of? Daniel pointed out. So tell me, how do you know his real name? He gave Star another hard stare. Fine, I'll speak. But we're not going to lose time just standing around. I'll tell you as we search for this lock of rain and night. Deal? Daniel was hesitant. He could see Star's plan. She wants to divert the conversation to something else by taking my attention away from it. Well, that's not going to work, unfortunately. Although, she didn't have a point. As far as he was aware, she was still helping with him. She was still helping with completing the prophecy, and they were being hunted. Nah, fine. But you're starting right now, Daniel started. Daniel stated, fine with me. But first, let's at least have a plan on where we should go. Take the map out and let's make a proper plan beforehand, Star said persuasively. Daniel, seeing that he didn't have much of a choice, complied with her request, although much to his annoyance. He placed the map on the sand in front of them. The bally song still clutched within his right front talon. Okay, so if I'm right, we should be somewhere around here, Daniel said as he pointed to the western edge of the Ice Kingdom border. If we continue along the edge, we should be able to search the perimeter before sundown. I see. But it may take a little longer, as we're also going to have to keep our eyes we're also going to have to keep eyes out and heads down from the incoming patrols, Star pointed out. True, but on the bright side, that will give you plenty of time to explain your connection with the gatekeeper, Daniel said sternly. Star shot him a mix of a disgusted and annoyed look. Damn it, another ad fucking popped up. That's great. Star shot him a mix of a disgusted and annoyed look. Yeah, plenty of time, she spat. Let's just get a move on already. She was about to take off into the air. However, Daniel stopped her. Wait a second, he said, as he scanned the map a little more closely. There were 2 points on the map that they had missed. One of them was just a little up north from their current position. It was labeled DC, while the other was much further up north from there. It was located on the tip of Pyria's snout and was labeled RWP. What is it? Star asked, getting even more impatient. Take a look at this. I think we may have a starting point. Daniel smiled softly as Star walked over to take a look. Oh, how do we miss that? I have no clue. Although it doesn't matter. Daniel looked up to the sky. The bright sun was maybe a little over halfway past the midday point. So I'm guessing maybe 1 or 2 p.m. Let's go. We have work to do. Star nodded as she watched Daniel roll up the map from the ground and take off into the sky. They headed north, keeping to the western border, in order to avoid the great ice wall, which lied in the not so far off distance behind them. It had been at least 1 or 2 hours since they had first taken off. They flew silently for most of the time, only ducking into the clouds or behind molds. I think he just misspelled mounds. We love typos here; they make us laugh. Behind molds of snow on the ground to avoid patrols. However, Daniel has grown a little impatient. He thought Star would just explain the situation regarding the gatekeeper, but it seems she had other plans. He sighed. Guess I'll have to pry the words out myself. Daniel flew up next to the shiny yellow and blue hybrid. So, care to explain care to explain your explanation? Daniel said, refusing to drop the subject. Star turned to meet his hard stare. Explain what? Oh, don't play dumb with me. You know exactly what I was referring to. Her face fell as she understood, sighing deeply before she spoke. You're not going to stop, are you? Nope, not until you talk, Daniel replied. Star sighed again for like the 5th time in 1 minute before she finally admitted. I met him last night. You what? Daniel replied, slightly worried. You met him? Like, did he enter your dreams? Star nodded. Yeah, he did. Well, what happened? Did he hurt you? Daniel was genuinely worried now. If her experience with him was anything like mine. He shivered. He couldn't bear the thought of how close to death he was. I'll be forever grateful that turtle was there to save me. Daniel looked back to Star, who was staring down at the far-off ground below in an almost dazed sort of manner. Hey, are you all right? Daniel asked, cautiously. Star's head snapped to look him in the eyes. This made his insides jump a little bit, but he held his composure. I'm fine. Nothing serious happened in the dream, Star said, reassuringly, before she added, nothing like what was happening to Keebly, at least. Then what did happen? Daniel asked once again, not reassured at all that Star wasn't hurt. Tell me the truth, Star, Daniel said sternly. He was fed up with her avoiding his questions. What did he do to you? Star simply stared. She stared at him in the eyes, sadly. Tried to talk, but no words came out. However, that's when Daniel took initiative and lightly placed his right wing on her back. It was A-B-U-T. We love misspelling typos. They make us laugh. It was a bit difficult, he had to admit, since it put him off balance. But he managed. Star, please, don't hide this from me. And that's when Star couldn't take it anymore. She broke down in tears. Without warning, she grabbed Daniel and pulled him into a hug. Or more specifically, she just wrapped her wings and held onto his body as Daniel struggled to flap his wings to keep them from falling. Whoa, hey, what happened? Daniel shrieked. It all happened so quickly that he couldn't really understand it. Although one thing was for sure. That asshole did something, and I'm nearly certain it wasn't pretty. Hey, Daniel said, trying to comfort the crying dragon, clinging onto his body. It's all right. Don't worry. I'm here. It was kind of awkward, because he wanted to comfort his friend, but not to the point where she would find out he had a crush on her. Do you want to take a break? Daniel asked. Star gave a small nod. Daniel glided down to the now very icy floor below. Ice and snow caused Daniel to slip a little on landing. However, he was able to recover by painfully digging his claws into the ice. It gave off a ear-bleeding screech before he finally came to a stop. Okay, no, we're down now. Now, what happened in your dream? Daniel asked as he looked down to Star, who was still clinging onto his chest. She looked up to meet his soft, worried eyes before she unwrapped her wings from around his body. It was a strange feeling. As soon as she did this, Daniel kind of wanted a little more. We love seeing the Giga Chad protagonist and his love interest interact. Oh, shut up, Daniel. Just focus on what's happening. Sorry. Star stuttered nervously. Sorry for jumping on you like that. It's fine. Really. Daniel reassured her. He didn't need her getting even more upset than she already was. Now, what happened? He showed me what he said was the future. Star finally got out. Daniel's eyes went wide. That's what Keebley said. Star continued. He showed me flashes of different times in the near future. A fire. Lots of it. Wanted posters with our faces on them. Blood on my talons. Blood on my own talons. Red blood. Blood that wasn't mine. She broke down again. Hurricane. Something is wrong here. I don't know what, but she fell silent. More of the disturbing flashed coming into her mind. Huh? We love typos in the make us laugh. Coming to her mind. Daniel was speechless at what he was hearing. It was essentially the same thing Keebley had said about his experience. Except instead of one large scene, she was given multiple different flashes. Every one worse than the last. He shivered. The thought of what she must have saw scared him, considering that as long as he knew her, which wasn't long, she didn't seem like the one to cry easily. Yet, whenever he showed her, has her breaking down in tears. Daniel thought. Just then, however, he knew he needed to speak up, say something, anything. Hey, Daniel started. It's all right. Nothing like that is going to happen. He's just trying to scare you. However, Star shook her head. No. One of them was about you, Hurricane. Daniel's heart started up. About me? What did I do? Star was about to tell him what he saw, but Daniel clamped her mouth shut. Don't tell me, Daniel said. But, no buts. Keep whatever you saw to yourself. Understand? Star looked reluctant to comply. Almost like it was something that he needed to know. But Daniel wasn't going to listen. Any visions this guy has is probably total bullshit. So there's no point in hearing it out, no matter how bad or important it seems. He looked back at Star with a hard stare, but she eventually complied. Fine, she said in an almost sorry-like tone, which made Daniel question if he had really made the right decision on this one. But he shrugged it off. Alrighty then, let's check the map to see here we could possibly be at this point. He said as he reached into the bag and pulled out the map again, this time lying it across an area of ice instead of sand. Star and Daniel crowded the map as they looked where to go next. Locating a black DC point on the map, he estimated about a 5-minute flight from where they were. Okay, if we are around this area, it's probably no more than a 5-minute flight to where we need to go, Daniel said as he pointed another claw on the map. Okay, but we're deep into the Ice Kingdom now. If we fly, we may get spotted by the Ice Wings living here, Star pointed out. How long will it take to make it there on foot? Daniel looked at her, hesitant to comply, but did it anyways, seeing he really didn't have any other option. Slowly, Daniel made his way to Star and climbed on her back. He went into the same position that Winter was in when the roles were switched. Daniel tucked his legs tightly around the sides of her back before he pleased. Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. We love typos here. This one really makes me laugh. He pleased his front talons gently on her back. Wow, you're a lot lighter than I anticipated, Star said, slightly amused. I sincerely hope you mean that as a compliment, Daniel responded as he shot her a soft, skeptical glare. Star simply giggled. Take it as you will, she responded, and soon they were off. Star ran across the ice ground like it was just another day in the fields as Daniel was clinging onto her tightly. Hey, I thought we were going to be flying. Nope. Remember that we'll get caught, so on foot it is. Daniel groaned at Star, although he couldn't argue, knowing that she was right. They continued like that for a while in silence. Okay. An icy breeze washed over them. Star wasn't affected by it, although Daniel noticeably shivered. Hey, stop moving, or else you're going to make me lose balance, she snapped. Sorry, Daniel chattered. It's freezing out here. Star only laughed at his remarks. Well, get used to it. It's only going to get colder from here on out. Daniel couldn't get another word out since he was shivering so much he just held on tight and kept silent. It was not fun, not in the slightest. However, he couldn't admit it would. Oh boy, we love typos that make us laugh. He couldn't admit it would all bad. The scenery was absolutely amazing, even if they weren't inside the actual kingdom yet. To the left was a bright blue ocean, with the sun shining on its rippling waves, while on the right was a very wide but crisp landscape of ice and glaciers. Daniel watched for what felt like forever as they passed by. It was truly beautiful. And just for a second, Daniel almost forgot about the freezing temperatures. Well, no. Wheel. Oh boy. W-E apostrophe L-L. Okay. Wheel that was until another breeze blew past them. And I nearly forgot about that. Daniel scowled, although his train of thought was interrupted when Star called out to him. Hey, I think we're here, Star called as she came to a stop outside what appeared to be a dugout cave into a large glacier. It was definitely a lot smaller than the cave that they took shelter in the Sand Kingdom, but it seemed to be a lot deeper. Daniel got off of Star's back and prepared himself for the burning sensation of cold ice. Although, when he put his talon on the ground, he noticed it wasn't that bad. He made a confused face as he thought deeply. How come I can't bear to stand on the ice back there, but over here I'm completely fine? Doesn't make any sense. Star giggled from behind. What you thinking about? You seem to be deep in thought. Daniel shook his head. Nothing important. Star looked at him oddly, but took his word for it. If you say so. Now, what is this exactly? She gestured to the small cave opening, which was just large enough for a grown dragon to pass through. Daniel was already scanning the map to make sure they were in the right place. The map matched up with their current location. This was it. Well, there's only one way to find out. He put the map away and stepped into the slightly tight cavern. Star followed him closely. Icy walls were a winding maze of corridors. The flat ice acted like mirrors as Daniel's and Star's reflections followed their movements. To Daniel's surprise, there was a lot of light inside the cave. I guess the mirror-like ice reflects the light from the outside into the cave as well. They continued for a while longer in silence, until the came across. We love typos that make us laugh. Until the came across a fork in the road. A fork in the path. I bet. This isn't good, Daniel said. Well, What do we do now? I'm not sure, to be honest. He pondered for a moment, but then had an idea. Let's try the left route. However, dig your claws into the ice to make a sort of mark so we know where we came from, in case this is some sort of loop. Star nodded. She made a visible mark with her claw into the wall before they continued forward. However, they soon realized that the claw mark wasn't needed, as when they reached the end of the passage, they entered a room which made their spines crawl. Oh my moons, Star shuddered as they looked around. Daniel was speechless as well. He couldn't muster up anything to say. He just stared out at the gruesome scene in front of him. About a dozen or more dead ice wings lay frozen in ice. All of them held a sort of spear in their hands and had mixed expressions, ranging from anger to fear to acceptance. What the fuck? Daniel said. He could understand what this place was, but then he saw it, and he knew exactly where he was. He tapped Star's shoulder as he looked towards the object. Star turned to ask what was up, but then she saw it too. Oh no. Hurricane? We need to leave. Yeah, I noticed. We're not supposed to be here. Down by the end of the large room of frozen ice wings lied one singular black, frozen dragon. Its facial expression was a sort of sorrowful one, and what could be seen as a small, clear, frozen tear rolled down the dragon's cheek. If we're right on this, then we're really in deep trouble here, Star said. Daniel nodded. We're in the ice caves. And that is the end of the chapter, except for, as usual, the author's note at the very bottom. Hello, everyone. Thanks for reading another chapter. Sorry, I haven't been posting much. I've been stuck up with piles of schoolwork, but I've managed. Hopefully, you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Pretty normal chapter, I see, or I say. News for me. Might be gone soon for like 2 months in like the next few weeks. So I'll continue the schedule up until then. But once that happens, you're not going to hear anything from me for 2 months. So yeah, maybe the author will upload a new chapter and you can read it. But other than that, that's all I have to say. See you tomorrow.